The screaming has stopped. That is the worst part. In its place, a low keening sound settles over the clearing thin, as the mist clinging to the giant ferns. It is the sound of grief and noise the clan knows as well as the scrape of flint on bone. The scent of blood coppery and thick hangs in the damp air, an undeniable announcement of failure. Kale is gone. Or rather, what is left of him lies near the shattered trunk of a a shredded thing of sinew and splintered bone that his mate Trina refuses to look away from. The hunters stand silent, their obsidian minor-tipped spears heavy with uselessness. They had been too slow. They are always too slow. Lyra does not look at the body. Her eyes clouded with age but missing nothing are fixed on the sky. Her knuckles are white where she grips a one smoothing stone, its coolness a small anchor in the churning horror. While the others see only the aftermath of a monster, a brutal act of a godless world, Lyra sees a failure of perception. A failure of the early humans' way of thinking. The attack, like all the others, felt random. A tremor in the earth, a wall that split the world, and then the Tyrannosaurus Rex, a walking mountain of muscle and teeth, an engine of extinction that moved with the inevitability of a landslide. It had burst from the tree line, seized Kale from the riverbank and vanished back into the green labyrinth, all in the space of 20 heartbeats. A force of nature, unpredictable, unstoppable. But the memory returns to Lyra unbidden and sharp. An hour before the thunderous footfalls, the clan was working, the younger ones grinding roots, the men sharpening spears, the familiar rhythm of a day in this long, slow unfolding of hominid history. Lyra had been watching the cliff face across the valley where the colony of Pteranodon roosted. She often watched them, their leathery wings catching the updrafts, their sharp cries a constant distant music. But then something had changed. It was not a normal departure for the morning's fishing. It was a sudden silent explosion. 100 dark shapes bursting from the cliff, not in a stream but in a chaotic, desperate scatter. They did not soar, they fled. They fled in every direction, a frantic dispersal into the vast empty blue, as if the cliff itself had caught fire. At the time she had thought nothing of it. A squabble perhaps. A hunting demorphoed on spooking the larger creatures. But now, standing in the silence of careless death, the two memories collide in her mind with the force of a physical blow. The panicked sky and then the trembling earth. The silent winged exodus and then the roar that stole a life. The clan seized the Tyrannosaurus Rex as a predator that emerges from the forest. Lyra is suddenly terrifyingly certain that the real warning, the first move in the game of death, comes not from the trees but from the sky. The prehistoric life of this world has its own language, and for the first time, she is beginning to understand the grammar. The knowledge settles not as a comfort but as a terrible isolating weight. While her people mourn one death, Lyra is already living in fear of the next, her gaze lifted to the heavens, searching for a prophecy written in scattered wings. That night the fire is a small flickering world against an immense darkness that breathes and watches. Kale has been given to the earth, his bones wrapped in broad leaves and buried beneath a cairn of river stones. The ritual is old, but the comfort it offers is thin. Bo, the clan leader, a man whose strength is carved into the hard lines of his face, speaks of vengeance. He talks of better spears, of deeper pits of a hunt to drive the beast from their territory. It is the talk of a man trying to fight a storm with a sharpened stick. The others listen, their faces grim in the dancing light, their fear tangible thing they try to burn away with bravado. Lyra waits. She lets the anger and grief wash over the clan, a necessary fever, until a lull settles. Then she speaks, her voice a dry rasp that cuts through the crackle of the flames. It was not the beast that killed Kale, she says, and every eye turns to her. Rena lets out a choked sound of pure anguish. Boar's gaze hardens. It was our blindness. We look at the ground for tracks, but the warning was in the sky. She tells them, then, her words careful and deliberate, of the panicked flight of the Pteranodon. She describes the chaos, the silent, frantic explosion from the cliffs that came before the roar. She proposes a new law, a new way of seeing their prehistoric world. The sky speaks of the earth's dangers. The sky minus beasts know first. It is a profound cognitive leap, a step from the tangible world of tooth and claw into the abstract realm of omens and patterns. The reaction is a wall of disbelief. An old woman's dream. Bo asks his authority, threatened by this strange new talk. The sky minus beasts fly from the wind from their own squabbles. You see patterns in the clouds, Lyra. Kale-eyed because our spears were not sharp enough. Rena, her face slick with tears, spits at the ground near Lyra's feet. Do not shame his death with stories of birds. He was a warrior, not a fool who forgot to look up. The clan murmurs in agreement. They are a people of the earth. Their wisdom is in stone inward in the gutting of a kill. This talk of reading the sky feels like madness, a weakness they cannot afford. This moment is a fragile point in hominid history where an idea that could save them is about to be extinguished by the very instincts that have kept them alive this long. The next morning, desperation forces the issue. The stores of mashed fern minus root are gone. The children's bellies are beginning to swell with hunger. BR declares that a gathering party will head for the sunken grove at Damp Hollow Ridge, with 2 bursts a half minus days walk away. It lies directly across the path the T-Rex has used before. As the party gathers their baskets and digging sticks, Lyra steps in front of them, her small frame and frail but unmoving obstacle. No, she says, her voice firm. Not there. She points a trembling, wrinkled finger toward the sky above the distant grove. Look, the sky minus beasts are calm. They circle. They fish. The path is safe now. She turns her gaze back to Beowulf. But I will go first. I will sit on the ridge and watch. If they scatter, you turn back. You run, no questions. You do not enter the grove until I say the sky is quiet. It is a desperate, selfless gamble, an act of pure faith in her own mind. She is wagering the clan's survival not on a spear, but on an idea. Beowulf stares at her, his face a mask of conflict, pity, anger, and a flicker of something else, the terrifying possibility that she might be right. After a long tense silence, he gives a sharp, frustrated nod. We will follow the old woman's prophecy, he says, the words dripping with sarcasm. Let us hope her birds do not lead us into the monster's jaws. Hours crawl by under the oppressive sun. Lyra sits motionless on the ridge, a sun minus baked stone among stones, her eyes fixed on the distant cliffs. Below, the clan waits in the thin shade of a rock overhang, their patience fraying into nervous whispers. The children are restless. Beowulf sharpens a spearhead against a rock, the grating sound a steady rhythm of his doubt. He glances up at Lyra, then at the silent, peaceful sky. The Pteranodons are still there, circling in lazy gyres, their orcas thin and untroubled on the breeze. To the others, the sky is empty of meaning. To Lyra, its calm is a promise of safety, a language of tranquility. She holds fast to her incital, only sentinel guarding the fragile border between what is and what will be. Then it happens. It begins not with a sound, but with a rupture in the pattern. A single dark shape breaks from the circling flock, not gliding but plummeting in a panicked dive. Then another. Within heartbeats, the serene dance becomes a silent detonation of terror. The entire colony explodes from the cliffs, a spray of black specks fleeing outwards as if from an invisible blast. They do not fly together, they scatter, a chaotic every minus creature minus itself exodus that screams a single word into the vast blue emptiness. Run. Lyra is on her feet in an instant. She lets out a shriek that is more bird than human, a rock, piercing alarm call that slices through the afternoon haze. She waves her arms, a frantic semaphore of disaster. Below, the clan freezes. Beowulf looks up, sees the scattered sky, and the color drains from his face. The sarcasm, the doubt, it all evaporates in a flash of primal fear. He understands. He roars, his voice a guttural thunder that commands obedience. AWAY. TOTAGHROCKS. Then OW. There is no hesitation. The baskets of digging sticks are dropped. The clan moves as one body, scrambling up the scree slope, their movements clumsy with panic, but driven by the absolute certainty of Lyra's warning. They claw their way to the safety of the higher caves just as the first tremor shakes the ground. It is a vibration felt deep in the chest, a low minus frequency, hum that grows into a rhythmic earthquake. Thump, 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 the sound of a moving god. Then the Tyrannosaurus Rex bursts into the sunken grove, exactly where the gathering party would have been. It is larger than they remembered, a moving catastrophe of muscle and teeth. It stops, its massive head swiveling, its nostrils tasting the air, sensing the prey that was just there. A roar of pure, frustrated rage erupts from its chest, a sound that cracks the air and sends birds scattering from trees a mile away. The clan these ancient humans watch from their high perch, their bodies pressed against the cold stone, hearts hammering. They look from the raging titan to the frail old woman beside them. She is not looking at the monster. Her eyes are still on the sky where the last of the Pteranodon nests are vanishing into the horizon. Biora moves to her side, his breathing ragged. He does not need to speak. The new law has been written in the bedrock of their minds, a foundational piece of their budding anthropology. The sky has a voice, and for the first time these Homo sapiens have learned how to listen, forever altering their relationship with this prehistoric world of giant dinosaurs. They do not celebrate their survival. There is no joyous feast, only a profound and chilling silence as they return to their main cave. A new layer of fear has been added to their existence, but beneath it something else has taken root, a new kind of power. Elwyra's gift was not magic, it was the dawn of abstraction, the first crucial step in the long war that intelligence would wage against ink. This single event, this translation of a scattered sky into a life-saving truth, was more significant than the invention of the sharper stone axe. It was the moment their minds became the ultimate weapon, a tool capable of seeing the invisible threads that bind predator and prey, cause and effect. It was the birth of foresight, the ancestor of every strategy, every hypothesis, every blueprint that would one day allow this fragile species to inherit the earth. Their triumph was not in escaping the teeth of a monster, but in proving that the patterns of the universe were not beyond their comprehension. How much of our own survival, our own ascent, is owed to those first courageous minds who dared to look up from the bloody ground and find meaning in the chaos above. For in a world ruled by titans, the future belongs not to the strong but to the observant. But a predator that can be predicted can also learn to deceive.